Good morning. Welcome to Crocker and Cohn. That's Crocker. I'm Cohn. And I don't know if you guys were up early. I was watching Crocker. This is his second show of the day. I was watching him earlier. He's talking about Peter King, who all of a sudden everyone in the national media has a lot to say about Trey Lance. And I think it's really interesting because it seemed like for a while he was like the person you couldn't talk about. You weren't allowed to talk about, you all were allowed to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. Now it's all about Trey Lance. And my question, Eric, is what's the change? Why are the Niners suddenly so enamored with Trey Lance?
I think part of it is, what if he's been solid the whole time, and out of respect for Jimmy Garoppolo is like, hey, we're not going to start pushing this narrative of this guy being extremely good. You don't want, Garoppolo to lose the locker room at all. I don't think he would have. Everybody loves him in the locker room. So there's that aspect to it. But then there's also the aspect of, you have guys like Joe Montana and maybe some guys that what they say carries weight, even if he's not 100% accurate with what he's saying. He said it, right? And maybe the organization now is like, you know what? Start kind of throwing out these things like, no, we do like him more than what's being put out there. And there's been a lot from whether it's Joe Montana or guys like Ryan Clark or Bill Simmons. I heard Bill Simmons on a podcast talking about Trey Lance and not being ready. So I think maybe they're trying to
Brian Baldinger said the Niners should have traded for Matthew Stafford.
Right.
Yeah.
And Baldinger is a guy who previously was like, really likes Trey Lance. So I don't know, man. This has been probably one of the more polarizing quarterback situations in recent years.
Yep. I think you hit it on the head. Those are the two things. To me, Trey Lance has pretty much always been impressive. They were always enamored with him. That's why they drafted him. I was there in training camp. I was really enamored with him. And I'm not an expert, but he was damn good in training camp, in my opinion. And I'm not surprised that he was damn good on the scout team because he is damn good, at least damn talented. So that's part of it. I think that I saw him tearing it up in training camp, and then all of a sudden it was like Peter King and Michael Silver and all the national people were saying, Jimmy's tearing it up. I'm like, well, first of all, you're not here. Second of all, he's not tearing it up. And third of all, it's clear that what you said, the Niners are trying to pump up Jimmy. And raving about Trey Lance only diminishes Jimmy, right? So I guess that's part of it. But the other part of it is like when Joe Montana comes out and says people in the locker room say Trey's not ready. That's like a code blue. You got to get out in front of that. That's a problem. It's not just.
I think it's true though.
Yeah,
I think it's true.
I do.
And my thought process behind that is, what do these guys know, right? Like, so let's hypothetically say it's Deebo Samuel, right? Because he's been the guy that's really been
out there. They took a picture together, Joe and Deebo, right? Yeah,
right. He's been on Radio Row, all that stuff. Deebo's been the face of it. He's doing an awesome job. But all Deebo Samuel knows is Jimmy Garoppolo. When Deebo came into the league as a rookie. Jimmy Garoppolo they went to the Super Bowl. So that's all he knows there. And then when
he had an all-pro season with Jimmy, right?
Right. When he was hurt last 2020, Jimmy Garoppolo was also hurt. And then when he comes back and he plays healthy and he's with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's also healthy most of the season, they go to the NFC Championship game. So from his perspective, is Trey Lance a rookie ready to lead them to a championship? I'd say most people in the locker room would say, no, we haven't quite seen that. Now, that's not to say that he can't be, but I think those expectations on any rookie, that's really high. So I think it happened to be Trey Lance, but I think it could be anyone, and they still will be getting the same reviews or feedback. It could be Trevor Lawrence, and they'll be saying the same thing. Jimmy's more ready than Trevor Lawrence based off of his experiences with this player.
Agree. Well put. Yeah. So why are they suddenly so enamored with him? Because Jimmy's gone. They were always enamored with Trey Lance, and now the narrative has gotten a little weird because by trying to pump up Jimmy and suppress Trey Lance, a lot of people think that means they don't like Trey Lance.
Right.
And I don't think that's the case at all. I think they were just trying to trade Jimmy, and they've come this close.
I don't think it's all because of that. I think they truly believe, like, hey, we could win with him, and I think everybody truly loves him in that locker room. But none of that matters because at the end of the day, he is gone. And Kyle Shanahan always knew. You could tell just with his body language, the way he reacted to certain things. He did want more. The way he looked into Matthew Stafford, Deshaun Watson, trading 3 first-round picks. He wanted more. I don't think it was just because of injuries and things like that. I can win with this guy, but I am looking for more. So I think that more is Trey Lance.
I think he called on Aaron Rodgers the day of the draft before he drafted Trey Lance. So, yeah, he was looking around.
Right.
That Niner guy says about effing time we see something from Lance like this. Thanks, Niners, for waiting until after the season to show people Jimmy was so much better. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen the little clips floating around Twitter. Check out Javier Vega's Twitter or mine. I retweeted his stuff. It's a lot of little highlights of Trey from the scout team. He's making, I don't know, like Josh Allen-esque throws, rolling left, flip. I don't know. Pretty fun to watch if you haven't seen it.
I have my opinions on it. Like one play, he probably was sacked. Like if I'm
Yeah.
like, man, that's a sack. Or one play is a little bit behind. But one thing about Trey Lance coming out of college, it was clear he needs more reps. He needs to throw the ball a lot more. And he possesses a ton of talent. But when you just watch him, it's like, I just need to see more confidence in just throwing the rock around. And one thing that those clips showed me, I get it. Some people are going to like blow it up out of proportion, but it just showed me he's getting more comfortable as a passer. And the more comfortable he gets, the more high level things you're going to see him do that maybe you can't get from some of the other quarterbacks that have been quarterbacking the 49ers in recent years.
That's interesting. You went with arm confidence. I was really enamored with Trey Lance in training camp, but I had to admit that he was not the most confident. Like I kept comparing him to Colin Kaepernick. And I think Trey Lance is more gifted than Colin Kaepernick, much younger than Kaepernick was coming in the league, but Kaepernick was extremely confident in his arm. He could have been an MLB pitcher. He really felt like he could put the ball where he wanted to put it. And he was almost arrogant with his arm. I've never felt that with Lance. Lance is like a guy who, has seen that he can make the throws, but hasn't done it very much. And his confidence comes and goes throughout a session.
Right. And now you're starting to see, from these clips, some of the throws that he's just attempting is like, you know what? I think he's starting to get more and more confident. And that's going to come as he's the guy, right? Like once, because think about coming into this situation as a 21. He was drafted at 20 years old, started 17 games in college. Sure. You're number 3 overall pick. And you come in probably thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to compete for this job. And it's like, everybody's like, wait, no, we don't care about you, rookie. We love this guy, Jimmy Garoppolo. And then trying to find your place within all of that. I'm pretty sure that was pretty tough. And maybe he came out a little tight. But I think the more is like, hey, you're the guy and we'll live and die with your mistakes. He can start to loosen up and maybe make some of those throws more consistent like we saw in some of those clips, whether it was on target or not. Just the fact that he attempted it and he has that type of confidence, I think it's only going to grow and you're only going to see a better version of him.
That's what I thought I saw. I thought I saw in the Houston game, a guy who came out tight, trying to impress, passing up open, quick throws to make bigger plays. And then a guy finally settling down because it's a 3-hour game and he got the whole game finally to play. Anyway, Jeremy says, hey, Grant, love to you and your family. I sincerely hope that we start Trey Lance and just focus on developing him. Tom Brady is the only exception. What about Rodgers, though? The Packers aren't going to trade Rodgers to the Niners, right? That would never happen.
Well, my thing is, I don't think they would do it. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, they would be willing to do it. Do the 49ers have the compensation to make it happen?
I don't think so.
And they gave up the compensation. They have the compensation and the cap space. I don't think so.
Niners Dodgers says 209 collaboration with the 510 RIP moms. Thank you. What's the area code in Arkansas where you are?
870. But y'all know I'm real 209. So you know what I'm saying? So they got it right there. We're not gonna speak on that Arkansas stuff. So
you and Dallas Braden, most famous athletes coming out of 209 recently? No.
Tremaine Johnson, Brandon Cook.
Dallas Braden just repped it all the time, which I liked. I don't know if you know
Julius Thomas. Man, we got some athletes come out of Stockton. The Diaz brothers, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Nate, yeah.
All right, I'm getting some terrible lighting here. Hold on, I'm gonna be like this. Keep it a buck. What's up, coach? If those clips of Trey leaked during the season, you would have called for Kyle's public execution during the 4-game skid. Yeah, man, they're lucky that didn't come out. I couldn't see that in October. Looked pretty good to me. All right, let's go on to our next topic. The fact that the Niners almost switched to Trey Lance mid-season. This was Glazer who said this, no? Or was it King? One of the two. He just casually said, I'm sorry, I should know which one it was, but one of the two casually said, the Niners almost went to Trey Lance during the season. I think it was Glazer. It's a good thing that they didn't have to because they wanted to go slow with him. But, Jimmy Garoppolo had to really play well in November to keep that job. And I think we all kind of sensed that. I feel like it seemed like things were coming to a head in the Chicago game, but then Jimmy really turned it around and put together like 4 or 5 games in a row that were really good. I just think it's interesting that the Niners.
They held it. I think everybody was feeling that, right? Like everybody had that feeling, like when they were 2-4, especially after the loss to the Cardinals, with Colt McCoy, and they were 3-5 at that time. I think everybody was like, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah,
play the rookie, and then Jimmy Garoppolo played well enough to kind of have those. It was a 3-game winning streak that they eventually went on, and that was enough to hold off Trey Lance. where Kyle Shanahan has talked about how, hey, I was going to go to him. Kyle Shanahan talked about after the Colts game, like, man, if it wasn't for the knee, I was going to go to him. So Kyle was itching to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Garoppolo did well enough to hold him off. And ultimately, 49ers going to the NFC Championship, I think it was the right decision.
Yeah, hard to argue with it, right? I just wonder, it's too bad we can't go to the parallel universe where Trey Lance takes over midseason. I'd love to know. Because, I mean, if they're really enamored with him, if he was really tearing it up on the scout team like it looks like he was, we know how it ended up with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like they went far with him, but he ended up injured, and his last 5 starts were pretty bad. Could Lance have done better? Could they have gone farther? We'll never know. We'll never know. I guess we'll find out.
I'd say this: when you start off in the games that they played, they had to play against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. I think everyone thought that was a great opportunity to have your rookie start, and everybody was kind of penciling in wins there. Matter of fact, Trey Lance came in through the first touchdown of the season against the Lions.
Yes.
So you hypothetically speaking think there would be some level of success, and then him only improve throughout the year. I'd say there's a scenario where they still start off 2-4 with Lance, but maybe he's learning and he's getting better and he's improving. And we saw that with Mac Jones. Everybody forgets about that. Mac Jones and the Patriots, they started 2-4.
Yeah.
And then they rattled off a bunch of wins. I think something similar could have happened with Trey Lance.
It's like Kyle needed courage to go from, like courage, but like a leap of faith to go from Josh Norman to Ambry Thomas. And it took him a while, but he did it and it paid off. He never took the leap of faith with Trey, no matter how enamored he was. And, they went to the NFC Championship game. It's hard to say how far they would have went with Trey. We'll never know. I have nothing to say about it, but I just think it's interesting. He almost did it. Might have been the best decision he almost made. I don't know. Sean says Ward said it when discussing.
Hold on, real quick. That's the difference, though. Like some coaches, what I'm saying, they drop their nuts on the table in situations like that. And Kyle, he hasn't shown to be that guy. I feel like I don't want to call Kyle a front runner, but I do think he's more aggressive when things are going his way, as opposed to always being that aggressive person. So in a situation like that, where maybe another coach would have said, you know what, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna ride with this, and we're gonna rock with this, and be aggressive. And maybe other coaches wouldn't do it, but then that's a lot of times when you get the ultimate payoff. Kyle wasn't willing to do it.
And maybe it'll work out. I mean, I think he's trying to say, look what Andy Reid did. I respect Andy Reid. You respect Andy Reid. Mahomes, Alex, it worked out for Mahomes. Why can't it work out with? I'm just as good as Andy Reid. This kid's.
But there are a lot of people that would tell you that if he maybe would have pulled the trigger on Mahomes that year, remember they didn't even win a playoff game that year with Alex Smith.
There
are a lot of people that say if they would have played Mahomes, who's to say that they don't go further? Who's to say that they're not more? They're more. They
could have won a playoff game that year. Yeah, exactly. Or a Super Bowl. I'm totally with you on that. And I think Kyle, he may regret this the rest of his career, this one season, because this team was really good. It was right on the doorstep of a championship, and they couldn't get it done. All you could look at it. They all told themselves it was a successful season. We were 3-5. It was a successful season. We were 3-5. Yeah, I guess it was. I don't know. Depends on how you look at it. Sean says Ward said it when discussing Stafford. What did he do until this year? Don't you think that the fact that Trey doesn't throw Hail Marys, he'll be better than Jim? Be blessed and favor Grant. What did he do until this year? Yeah, I mean, people have one. I guess what he's saying is let's wait till Trey Lance gets his shot in this offense. I don't know. Do you think Trey Lance will be able to do some of the stuff that Stafford did? Do you think he'll have that kind of a elevating effect on the offense?
Man, I mean, you'll see it, but I think you'll see some more like spotty, like down, quote unquote, moments as well. Just with a guy just figuring out the NFL game. So there's going to be that element of like just naturally ups and downs while starting really your first year in the NFL.
Stafford's good, and everyone's really high on him right now because he just won the Super Bowl. But I watched him 3 times this year, and that guy makes ridiculous decisions with the ball. I mean, like he is Jimmy Garoppolo with a great arm. So at least Trey Lance theoretically could like protect the football better than him. I don't understand what Matthew Stafford decides to do sometimes, but usually when he throws a pick, it's like 70 yards down the field. So it's kind of like a punt, but still, what are you thinking, Matthew? Oh, wait, hold on. That last one, I didn't mean to skip by that one. Hold on. If A-Rod gets traded to Denver, will Lance be a top 5 quarterback in the NFC? AFC is loaded with elite quarterback talent. It's true.
I think Lance has the opportunity, and that's why you draft him number 3 overall, right? I think when you are drafting a guy that high, it's because you think he has the ability to be great. Whether he will be or not, like that's to be determined. But he has the skill set and ability to potentially be that guy. So you'd hope, right? If you spend the number 3 overall pick on a guy, that he can eventually be a top quarterback in his conference or the NFL in general.
Watching these clips is like Morpheus watching Neo at the end of the Matrix. He's beginning to believe. He's the one, y'all. Next year will be great. Man, I was trying to tell you guys during training camp when Mike Silver and everyone was like, Jimmy Garoppolo is having his best camp. Oh, yeah, it's so exciting to watch. Sorry. If Trey Lance wins the Super Bowl with the Niners, I will get a tattoo of Trey Lance on my chest with the title Daddy Lance. J-Rod 5, and you wrote it down. That you have to do it now.
Yeah.
J-Rod 5. You write in all the time, so I'm going to hold you to that. George says these stories are some Patrick Mahomes level throws. Off these stores? What are you talking about? These throws are some Patrick Mahomes level throws. Off platform, leading left, Jimmy G can't do that. I don't understand why we didn't play this kid. Because he wasn't ready. But now he is.
Well, and again, we gotta talk about what not being ready means. And I think for them is he ready to lead a team to a championship? And I think most people would say probably not. But I don't think it means he's not ready to like start or play. But the 49ers, the expectations are just so high. I think it's hard to throw a rookie into that situation. I think Jimmy Garoppolo being on the team, any of the other rookies would probably be behind him, except for maybe Mac Jones could be like, well, we could. But then you see what happens. Mac Jones gets to the playoffs. Is he not ready? Because he went into Buffalo and got their ass kicked, blown out, and he couldn't even compete with whatever Josh Allen was cooking up that day. So that's true. That's tough.
That's true. That's a good. I like that you keep coming back to that point. Like all the rookies would have been sitting behind Jimmy Garoppolo just for the same, not because they're not as good, for the same reason they traded. That's a good point. The throws look better than Josh Allen and Mahomes. But again, okay, hold on. So yeah, these throws look great. He's on the scout team, and it's impressive because the physical talent's apparent, and he's going up against the Niners' first team defense, which is, I mean, you see Fred Warner out there, all the starters, and he's playing with backups. That being said, it's practice. What do you put into? How much stock do you put into these clips and these clips in particular?
Yeah, I think for me, like I said earlier, it's just about him getting more comfortable and just what it looks like with him throwing the ball, more so than the actual like clip itself, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's always been about with Trey Lance, how comfortable can you get throwing the ball? Because you talked about it all offseason. He didn't throw a whole lot of passes. Yeah. And that's difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like that's to go from I haven't thrown a whole lot of passes. I've started 17 games since I was in high school, and all of a sudden I'm thrown into like the NFL with limited passing attempts.
Like imagine
it's always been about how comfortable can he get as a passer.
Spending a first round pick on a pitcher who had pitched 1 year in college or something like that, 1 year in high school. It's kind of absurd, but that's what.
Then all of a sudden you got to pitch against Barry Bonds.
Right? Yeah, and like have you know what to do, like not just have a fastball, but know how to set up pitches. And good luck, right? You would never do it, but in football you can pull it off, and he seems like he could pull it off, maybe.
Right. Eventually
he'll
get there.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen, Mahomes throws. I get what he's saying in the sense of like those are the type of throws but those guys, they do it consistently and they're special at the biggest moments in the biggest games. So I'm not going to compare some practice clips, which is nice to see, to those guys and what they've done.
I do think it's good to see like the confidence. He went from division, 2, it's not division 2, 1 AA,
FCS. Yeah,
FCS to he needed to feel like, okay, I'm still the most athletic player on the field. I still can do whatever I want to do. I think Justin Fields had that realization. He knows he can move around and do what he wants to do. I think Lance is starting to feel like he seems to exude the confidence that you would want him to exude. He doesn't seem like he's there thinking, I can't do this. This game is moving too fast for me. But the one thing I think it's encouraging is he really did get to go up against a really good starting defense every day. And I know that they know what Lance is doing, and Lance is really there to like help the defense, but it did seem like they're asking him to test them by throwing off schedule and going downfield, and it seems like he was having some success. So maybe they always talk about Mac Jones sitting for all those years at Alabama was good because he got to go against the Alabama starting defense every day in practice. Is there anything to that, or is that total bullshit?
I mean, if you listen to Trey Lance, and I heard him talking on Rich Eisen's show, and he said the biggest jumps that he made was when he got the first team reps for 2 weeks out of the season and played in those games. So I don't think there's anything better than getting that actual game time experience and really being able to see it and learn from some of those mistakes. He just unfortunately only had 2 opportunities to do that. Scout team is different. You know what I'm saying? Scout team, the defense, once you line up, they know what's coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Like, they've seen that look on film. They have it on the board. They've drawn up all their schemes, all the adjustments to it. And then they walk through it. And then by the time it's like live in practice, he's here, he's there. Is this down the distance? This the play. And they know exactly what it is. So, they've had to teach him to pull the trigger regardless of the defense knowing what it is.
So remember, like, no pass rush, can't get sacked, knows it. That's not really football, what they do in practice. It's something else. Right. It's something kind of like football, and it helps. But we'll have to see.
It's all for the defense. It's and obviously, like, you can develop in it to a certain extent, just doing different things. And Kyle Shanahan calling in the plays the way that the 49ers call it, I think that helps. But it ain't nothing like the game.
How do you think these clips got leaked now? Man, I wish they got leaked earlier. Man,
I heard somebody say it was like a receiver that threw. Maybe see if it was the same receiver in all the clips.
Cool. All the Cohn fans got to get over to Crocker's channel and subscribe. That is true. Definitely subscribe to Crocker's channel. Crocker, a real one, knows his stuff. Be blessed. Condolences, Grant. Definitely. If you don't already, I just assumed you already do. But I'm going to put a link in the next time to make sure you do. After seeing both, who's better, Fields or Lance?
I was really high on Fields coming out. I think he's definitely a more dynamic runner. I think as a passer, he just looks more comfortable because he's throwing a lot more passes. But I would say just watching them this season, Lance, he played better in his 2 starts. But there's still a lot of unknown with the guy. Maybe the situations are different. Yeah. Coaching is different.
Yeah.
But I think Justin Fields was the most talented quarterback in the class.
Yes. I saw him in person. I was like, damn, I was way too low on him. When I saw him in Chicago, fast, no one could catch him on the 49ers defense. He could run in circles. Really confident athlete, good player. He has nothing around him. No coaching, no supporting cast. I feel bad. I don't know what's going to happen to Justin Fields. Quarterbacks go to die in Chicago. I'm betting on Lance. Lance is in a better situation. There's high expectations, but
here's the thing.
Debo and
you got to know what's up here, because I done been in the locker room with guys that were high draft picks and stuff like that, have all this talent in the world, and if they don't have the mental aspect of it here, in the sense of dealing with adversity, the ups and downs, and working through that, and just their preparation, if that's not there, then all the talent, I don't want to say it's for nothing, but that's
what they say about Trey Lance is that's all there. I don't really know that much about Justin Fields. I wouldn't say yes or no, but I was impressed with what he put on the field that one time against the Niners. He was the only reason that the Bears were competing in that game.
Right.
You two are great. Thank you for making this a weekly show. Take my money. Cheers. Thank you very much. MILF Hunter on the hunt for MILFs weekly says, Grant, don't let Papa Dragon talk forever on phone.
That's a reference to my show.
All right, there's some news. Trey Lance is working out with John Beck this offseason. We knew he was going to be in Southern California. Some people wonder if it'd be Jordan Palmer. It's not. It's John Beck, who played for Kyle Shanahan. I mean, there is a definite connection there. So I guess Kyle can't work with Trey all offseason, but he can tell John, do this, and tell me. So it's kind of like he's working under Kyle Shanahan, just one layer removed. What do you think of this?
I think it helps because he knows exactly what Kyle Shanahan is looking for. Kyle Shanahan can have that open line of communication. This is what I want. Beck is able to speak through the eyes and mouth of Kyle Shanahan while training. And, and I think that's really big for a young player's development. Because at the end of the day, like any of this is about is, what does Kyle Shanahan want? So
Absolutely.
The more guys that you can put in place to help with that transition and that production, I think that helps, or development, that helps.
Now, I don't know if Trey Lance has worked with John Beck in the past. Maybe he has.
He did. He did.
Okay.
Late in the process, before.
Yes.
I think
just to set him up for the pro day, right?
Yeah, yes. It was for a week or so, nothing crazy. But if he works with him more this offseason, I think that's big. That'll help.
Right, because he was working with Quincy Avery and someone else that I interviewed. I forget his name. Sorry. Anyway, Quincy Avery.
He was with that. He's under Avery too, I believe. I think you're talking
right, of course. But you know who was working out with John Beck all last offseason? Zach Wilson. That he was the guy who got Zach Wilson drafted that highly. And then I'm just looking it up. The Jets actually hired him as an offensive assistant, John Beck. So
Yeah.
maybe he's no longer under contract over there, but he's I mean, I guess he did good work with Zach Wilson. Guess.
Uh,
What do you
Zach,
think of
again,
Zach Wilson?
remember, gotta be up here. You gotta have it up here. So you can't. What works for one guy working with a person, you might get different results with a different person depending on their work ethic. One thing that John Beck did say with the short time he was with Trey Lance of how like his relentless work ethic of really trying to get things down and staying after and having that type of
Yeah.
work ethic. So you should get better results but I don't want to talk down on Zach Wilson, but I'm confident that Trey will be in good hands.
I'm a little disappointed. I'm not surprised because Kyle Shanahan is so faithful to his network, but Tom House is really good, has a proven track record. And if Trey needed to work on throwing mechanics, why not go to the best one in Tom House? And this is probably what Kyle wants him to do. I'm not saying Trey's over here it's probably Kyle's decision. But Kyle, like, what's wrong with Tom House? I mean, Nick Mullins used to go there. Although I'm sure John Beck is good too. Although I don't know. Zach Wilson didn't translate. I don't know. What do you think of Zach Wilson, real quick? A lot of people liked him. Wanted the Niners to get him.
He was my QB4, and I know there were some people that are really high on him.
Yep.
I think you see the splashy things, and again, talking about just being super comfortable throwing the ball, I think is there, but a lot of it was off script. There was a lot of backyard football type stuff, a lot of throwing the ball to your big receivers that are more talented against North Alabama, Texas State defensive backs, so a lot of bailout type stuff. But he definitely has the ability, but it's going to come down to the way he retains information, the way he challenges himself to continuously get better. Sometimes it's hard when you come from a background of what is it, his grandpa owns JetBlue or whatever the hell it is, like that stuff is kind of hard. So we'll see. I don't know the person, and to me that's what's one of the more important things.
Revenge says the Niners should draft Watson. I think he means Christian Watson. What do you think?
Yeah.
100%.
I like, obviously, love Debo, Ayuk, terrific. But the 49ers are missing that big field stretcher, right? We're talking about this is a legit 6'4", not a North Dakota State website 6'4". Like he's measured in 6'4", 210 pounds. Some people are saying that he's going to time around 4'3". I'd say low 4'4s. All right. But he's someone who can win vertically. He can win contested at the contested catch with the 49ers receivers, including George Kittle, struggle with that. So give him someone that brings a different element. He can stretch the field, and you can still have everybody else work the different areas. I think that different dynamic and having somebody with a bigger catch radius will be tremendous for Trey Lance. Doesn't have to be perfect on every throw as opposed to throwing to maybe Ayuk or Debo Samuel.
Croc, here's my thing, though. Me and you have been talking about, draft wide receiver prospects for years. I haven't really started investigating this year's yet, but what I'm hearing is Christian Watson is big, fast, physical. Like, why is he not being projected to be in a first round pick? I see right now he's like at late third. Why?
Yeah, probably. They're probably I mean, there's a lot of that, right? Because of the level that he did it on.
Yeah.
And this is a fluid guy. Once they start really diving in, they're going to see him return kickoff returns for touchdowns at North Dakota State. So
and he just killed it at the Senior Bowl, right?
Yeah, he killed it. He was the best receiver. He won the best receiver award at the Senior Bowl. I mean, if you watch his North Dakota State film, he got end arounds running for touchdowns. Kyle Shanahan's gonna look at that like damn. Like he does a lot of really good
top
stuff.
40 pick to me, man.
Yeah. Hopefully, 49ers get a high second for. Hopefully, 49ers get a high second for Jimmy Garoppolo.
And we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Justin said in these clips, his spiral looks better on the run. Talking about Lance, I've always felt that he's a more natural thrower on the run. I feel like when he's in the pocket, he's like a dancer counting steps. You know what I mean? Like 1 and 2 and here and
comfortable.
Like,
it comes back to that, right? Like because if you watch Trey Lance just warming up, he throws tight spirals all the time. The ball's not fluttering around. But once he's a little uncomfortable, maybe with him from the defense or feeling like he has to muscle everything in there, then the ball, just gripping it tighter like that can come out a little wobbly. So I think you see some of that. But in those clips, it's a more controlled environment. His scout team making plays on the move, and it just comes out his handbagger because it's more comfortable.
George says, now I understand why the Niners defense got better throughout the season. They were facing a better quarterback in practice and seeing a mistake. I mean, going from Nick Mullins for a few years to Trey Lance is a whole different ballgame. That's true.
Yeah,
it's true. It is. Hung Fat says, when will we see you guys on Niners Hive? Love you all. Go Niners. I like Niners Hive. They're cool. When they hit me up, Ayuk leaked it. Please throw it deep. Ha 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 ha.
Ayuk did you see him say that?
Yes. Deep
Yeah.
on me, please. Oh,
Yeah.
gotta love Brandon Ayuk. Because really, he just shut the hell up all year. I think he didn't really have anything nice to say about Jimmy, so he was just like,
From what I understand, though, I don't not to say I have sources, but somebody inside, he's more
yeah,
of a kind of reserved person.
yes,
And I think some of this clashing with Kyle Shanahan was because he didn't really Kyle
right.
maybe didn't get the reaction from an expression standpoint that maybe he was looking for. And Ayuk is more of like all right type guy. I don't know,
Yeah.
but that was some of what I was hearing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to know Ayuk a little bit. He's very, very shy is almost the word. Like he's not super outgoing, although he's very confident. And if a coach tries to put him in the doghouse, I think he would probably just be like, "This is weird. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing." He's not going to go talk to him like Deebo Samuel talks to Kyle every day. And I think Kyle's kind of reserved too. When you have two guys who don't necessarily, aren't necessarily naturally assertive socially, and so that I think what happened was there was a lack of communication, and something that should have been handled in a week took 2 months to handle. If there was just a conversation, I think that's what happened. Ayuk smoking that Jimmy pack. Okay, let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. So Chris Mortensen says that, talking around the league, Jimmy Garoppolo has been valued at a 3rd-round pick in a trade, which may be disappointing for Niner fans. That's surprising to me. I think that's great news, and I think the Niners should be all over that. What do you think?
I think it's ideally you would like to give up a 3rd. I think there will be kind of multiple suitors, and we'll see. How important is it to you to win? So when you look at like a team like the Washington Commanders, an exec came out and said, hey, they can justify giving up a 1st-round pick for him. Well, why, how can you justify that? Well, you look at their situation with Ron Rivera, Riverboat Rod, who is clearly very aggressive. He has to win. It's year 3. I need someone that's going to at least kind of steady this ship here, or my job is on the line. And just like Kyle Shanahan needed Jimmy Garoppolo to kind of steady that ship and they end up going to an NFC Championship game, Ron Rivera might be trying to strike that same magic. I think they have good weapons there. I think they can add to the receiver core a little bit. I think their defense is ready to go. So I think things are there in place. Got a good running back with Gibson behind. There are things in place to come
Curtis
in.
Samuel's kind of a Debo player.
Yeah. Jimmy could potentially come in. And I would put money that he could. That team will go to the playoffs with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. So how important is it to you to go to the playoffs? I think
unless he gets hurt.
That's the
thing, though.
But
that's
2nd-round pick, 3rd-round pick, I'd give that up if I'm the Washington Commanders.
That's fair. You made a good case for it. I just feel like what the Niners could probably do it. It's up to them. If they want a future pick, they can make it conditional, right? If they're like, we don't need a pick this year, we could get a pick next year. Make it a conditional 2nd. If you go to the playoffs, then we get a 2nd or 1st, whatever. I think that's how I would do it, unless they feel they definitely need that 3rd-round pick this year. You could take a 3rd this year or something. What would you do?
I think ideally, if you were to tell me right now, hey, we'll give you a 3rd and a 5th for Jimmy Garoppolo, I'd take that.
Yeah. Fair. As opposed to pushing it off a year. Because you do have 2/3 already. Right now.
Well, now get 3 so you can go up and get a Christian Watson.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, I'm curious to hear what the people watching the show think. 3rd-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. Is that disappointing? I think the Niners should be happy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Niners trying to pump up Trey's trade value. What about that for conspiracy theory? All of a sudden, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, what's your trade chip? This kid, they're not doing that. You can't trade Trey Lance to the Packers. They have Jordan Love. Why would they like Trey Lance? They have Jordan Love. Do they hate Jordan Love?
Yeah.
Does he suck? I don't know.
He was inactive as a rookie.
That's not good. That's a lot. Fook Me says, oh, yeah, we already got you. Jerome says, starting watching both of you a year ago before the draft is awesome to see how you've both blown up. I don't always agree with your takes, Grant, but appreciate them. Keep dropping that knowledge. Croc. Man, Croc blew up a long time ago, man. I'm just saying.
Oh, man, I ain't.
All right, let's move on. Enough quarterback stuff. Dee Ford is still on the team. And cutting him, I think, would save the Niners $2 million in cap space, no more. They could do a post-June 1 cap thing, but that wouldn't help him this year, and it would spread it. It would make his dead cap hit extend into the future. Do you think he's coming back?
Nah, man. They got to be done with him. And that's unfortunate, to kind of your career be cut short because of injuries, but it's not just a 49er thing. he's had injury issues going back to when he was with Kansas City. He had that one great year. Then he came back, had a solid year with the 49ers, and he's kind of been banged up ever since. So I think you just got to cut bait. And if you only net $2 million, then whatever.
I totally agree.
$2 million is a solid veteran cornerback, that you can bring in to challenge a guy like Ambry Thomas.
Or it's like the next Arden Key. Right? The Niners seem to be doing pretty well with those kind of guys. Yeah, they've tried everything with Dee Ford. They're like, don't practice. Take all the time off. Only play 3 snaps a game. Nothing works. He can last maybe 100 snaps a season, then it all falls apart. I think he should retire. Clearly, he's trying to honor the contract he signed, which I respect. And he also has more money he can make, which I understand. Get that money. But from the Niners' perspective, no, you've given this guy like $40 million, probably enough. He's just taken up a roster spot. It's been proven that the Niners can get guys on the D-line who are bargain bin guys who end up being really better than Dee Ford. Charles Omena, who is better than Dee Ford right now because he's healthy. So yeah, enough. Sorry, D. He tried. It's not his fault. He didn't do anything wrong. He got hurt. It's the Niners' fault for thinking that. To me, the Chiefs were making it real clear. We don't trust. There's something wrong here. We're not going to give Dee Ford a long-term deal. The Niners are like, oh, we will. Why? Why did you think you knew so much about his back?
Well, clearly the 49ers don't care about injuries. I mean, they drafted Kinlaw, and you said it the whole time. And I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But you were on that like, hey, they drafted somebody with one good knee.
Yeah.
And you were saying it before. Between him and Dee Ford, you're like, they got 2 good knees. You said that from the jump. And you turned out to be more right than wrong on that one.
What's crazy is that like other organizations seem to be able to have success drafting players like this, not the Niners. What is it about Santa Clara? Is it the water? Is it the training staff? I don't know. But they need to stop doing that. And let's talk about Javon Kinlaw right now. This guy was the replacement for Buckner. They traded Buckner for Kinlaw. And the Niners still have a great D-line, but he's sort of, I mean, I don't even know if he's important anymore, but he was a huge investment. When he comes back next year, assuming he has 2 healthy knees, is there a starting spot waiting for him?
There's got to be, because one thing I've learned about the NFL, when they put a lot of resources into you, they're going to give you every opportunity to show that you are that guy. All right. So, and I was there with the Jets and they drafted D. Milliner. And I remember him showing up and like, I don't know. And a couple years later, he was out the league. But from the jump, he came in, he was a starter. Watching him, after I was released, watching him on TV, 2nd year, 3rd year, all that, you could tell something not quite right. But they're going to give Kinlaw every opportunity but if he shows this upcoming year like it ain't right, then they'll figure out a different direction to go.
Look, I would be disappointed if they moved Eric Armstead back to defensive end. I never understood why they moved him there to begin with. He's a good defensive. Pardon. Go ahead.
Here's something. Could they potentially, and this is not, I'm pretty sure other people have thought of this as well, but keep Armstead inside. DJ Jones is supposed to come back. Everybody wants him, but maybe you put Kinlaw at nose tackle. You don't got to spend money on DJ Jones, who's a terrific. DJ Jones is better than Kinlaw at this stage in his career, but maybe you let DJ Jones walk. You don't want to pay him all this money. Kinlaw play nose tackle. Now you don't have to play as many snaps. Just play your 20, 25 snaps a game and go from there. And I think that's a win-win for everybody involved.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. When I saw him coming out, even when he was healthy, I thought that's a big nose tackle. It's not, he doesn't necessarily have pass rush moves. He's just a big, huge athlete. And I think at nose tackle, he's the kind of guy where if you don't slide the center to him, if you don't double team him, he could bully someone. So I think that's probably his best position. He probably is a 2-down player anyway. So yeah, I think nose tackle for him.
Yep.
Which is not
exactly. People in the chat say they'd rather have DJ Jones, and I get it, but the 49ers, that's their investment. They invest a lot of money into Kinlaw, and they're going to try to figure out any way possible to make that work.
Now, it'll be rough, though, if they let DJ Jones go, bank on Kinlaw, and his knee, falls apart again. So they have to feel confident that that's been
fixed. You always got Givens. You always got Kevin Givens.
I like Givens, too, even though he's undersized. I think he's pretty good. Street, though, can't defend the run. Street cannot defend. I don't know what's up with that. Good one-on-one pass rusher. Grant, love your content. Atlanta released Dante Fowler. Should we consider him as a Ford replacement? What do you think? Fowler.
Fowler. I don't know. I mean,
what position does he play?
He plays. He's gonna rush off the edge.
Yeah.
I think he's a guy. If you're talking about you lose Artie Key and Fowler isn't it's not big money, because when you hear his name, you think that's big money. But if it ain't anything too crazy, yeah, you bring him in and have him rush off the edge.
Yeah, I mean, why not? If it's for like $1 million, no problem.
Right.
Seems like
Even if it's like 3, right? That might be or the difference between whatever. If you cut bait with Dee Ford and you net $2 million and you want to put about $3 million towards a Fowler for a season, I think that'd be a win.
But real quick, I just feel like Samson Ebukam came on real strong at the end of the season, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
They tried to make him like a situational pass rusher. That's not what he is. When he became a starting defensive end, first of all, he's a good run defender. And second of all, he got a bunch of sacks at the end of the season. I like Ebukam. I mean, I wouldn't just say they need it. I think to me, that's their Bosa and Ebukam are their edge rushers. They also have some good depth behind. Like Jordan Willis is good too.
Yeah.
Like
so they got some depth on the edge. I don't know. I still feel like you can't have enough good pass rushers, but yeah.
I know. Bish says the Niners should draft a pass. I think he said the Niners should draft a pass rusher in the second round. Maybe I'm tripping, but a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, it's a deep edge class.
Got it. Domain Threat says, Croc, I listen to Locked On every day. Awesome seeing you on here. Grant needs to become a regular on Locked On as well. Man,
Hey, listen, Grant, we got a lot of pushback when we were talking about bringing you on, and I haven't checked the numbers but I know around that time, and we record. Remember, we got 5 episodes we drop per week. That was the most listened episode for at least a couple months.
That's hella funny, man.
For all the people that say, "Oh, I'm not listening to that episode," that was the most listened to episode for a long time.
I'm the beat writer.
We're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands. Like we get a lot of listeners, and that was the most listened to one.
I know you get a lot of. Well, thank you. Let's do it again sometime. I'm down. Last one, or draft Kobe Bryant. There's a Kobe Bryant in this draft?
Yeah, cornerback out of Cincinnati.
I like it. I'm down. Good name. Huge Croc fan. Me too. He keeps it a buck and has a professional background in the NFL that gives him credibility. Hell yeah. Cohn is smart from. Hell yeah, I am. Absolutely. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. That's our show today. That's all we got. This was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for doing it.
All good, man. All good.
All right, man.
Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and thanks for having me on again.
Make sure you subscribe to Eric Crocker's YouTube. Follow him on Twitter, all that.
Yeah, type in Eric Crocker, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. I'll pop right up.
We'll be back next Thursday. See you.